made it. I think I made it. Yep, I think I'm here. I think we're here. Let me make sure we're here. Make sure it's working. Oh yeah, there it is. Yay, it's working. Happy Friday the 13th. Woohoo! 13 is such a good vibration. I like it. I also like that we made it to Friday. Hi, Daryl Gothis. How are you? How was your week? We made it to Friday. Friday the 13th. And I keep forgetting that tomorrow is Valentine's Day. See, I forgot even what it was. Oh, that's bad. Don't tell anybody. Good. I'm glad you had a good week. Yeah, very happy for Friday. Very happy for Friday. And Friday the 13th. So, let me make sure this board is working. I didn't check it before I pressed start because I was freaking out because I was so late. Oh yeah, it's working good. I didn't want to be this late. It just happened that way. Oh well. So let's see. We are going to talk about. Do you want to talk about Friday the 13th? 13? Hi, Judy. Thanks for being here. It's good to see you. Well, I guess we could. I don't know. It's really just what people believe. It's not really a big thing, but I did want to talk about what should I call this? I think I'll call it "Fake It Till You Make It." No, that's too long. Let's just call it. Let's just call it "Fake It," just to remind me. Hey, Josh, thanks for being here. It's good to see you. All right, so we got a topic that we're gonna talk about. We're just gonna label it "Fake It." What else do we have for today? Let me know. What else do we need to talk about? I'm gonna do a whole video on some of the astrological. Couldn't decide what I was gonna say. It came out really weird. I have a video I'm gonna put together probably right after this about the astrology, but we can talk about Saturn in Aries. That's happening today. All right. I'll leave the rest of the spots for you all. So let me know what numbers or topics we should talk about today. And I know we have a lot to talk about tomorrow. Because we've got some exciting stuff coming up in hip hop. That's going to be fun. That's going to be a good talk. Finally, something like more positive, which is even better. Judy, Josh, how was your week? We made it to Friday. Oh my gosh. My headphones got stuck. That's kind of been like my whole week. It's like these little weird happenings. These little weird things keep happening and like tripping me. You know, like when you trip and then you look and you're like, yeah, there was nothing there. I just literally tripped for no reason. That's been my whole week. like, oops, I tripped again. Oh, good. I'm glad, Josh. I'm glad it was a good week. I cannot believe things are still moving pretty fast. Like, February is usually pretty fast because it's a short month, but things are like still moving very quickly, much more quickly than last year. But as long as it's good and going in the right direction, I'm all right with it. And so far, so good. All right, I got more space here for us to get numbers or dates or topics. Just let me know what I should add there. And while you are thinking about it or typing it, I will talk about Saturn in Aries. Saturn in Aries. I don't know why that voice is what decided to come out, but okay. So, today, February 13th, 2026, we have Saturn, and actually right now, like in the next hour, is when Saturn is moving into Aries. And it's a really big deal when any outer planet moves into a new sign. So Saturn will be in Aries for about 3 years. So that means it was in Pisces for about 3 years. So that's a pretty big transition. But along with that, I think it was the end of January. So like January, let me see. Yeah, January 26th. We also had Neptune moved into Aries. And I'm going to do, hopefully right after this, I'll have enough energy to. I'm going to record a whole video about the astrology that's going on right now and preparing us for the Saturn Neptune conjunction that's coming up. But for today, this shift is really important because Saturn is about structure. And because it's a neutral vibration, that means it can be dissolving or breaking down a structure or building up a structure. And usually it's both. So with all of these energies, because they're neutral, you usually are getting both sides of those extremes and everything in between. And then Aries is all about the identity. So with Saturn, the structure energy moving into Aries that has the energy of identity, it is the breaking down and the restructuring of identities. And because Saturn is one of these outer planets, it means that this identity is about communities. It's not like big, huge groups, but it's bigger groups. So it's communities, it's like industries. So it's the identity of these communities or industries that are getting a restructuring for the next 3 years. So that's all I'll say here, unless you have more questions. see what you have in the chat. But like I said, I'll do a longer video explaining all of this. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we certainly can. So we certainly can. So thinking about like Black history to just history overall, it's actually pretty interesting. So yeah, I like that. I'm gonna put it on our list, and so we can talk about it. Yeah, because I like that for February. Because I've been thinking about what I should do for February. Because I usually do more on like Black history and the numerology of Black history in June. But yeah, we could certainly look at it here. So Black history. Cool. I like that suggestion. Thank you, Josh. Okay. And then we have, wow, we can actually see Judy's numbers. Like, what is happening? The universe is taking a turn for the better. We won't say too much. We won't say too much. We don't want to jinx it. Okay, so we have so is 5:30 and 5:45, are those both times? Because I see you wrote 5:45 as a time, but is 5:30 a time also? Oh, but this is 5. Okay, wait. I see now. I see now, said the blind man. 5:45:15. Oh yeah, because you just saw this. Wasn't this just yesterday that you saw this? 6:50. Does that A go in here? Because that is a vibration that could change things. And then 11:11 is time, is a time. Okay. All right, I'm going to wait just a minute and get a drink of water and make sure I got all this right, Judy. So just check and let me know. And then we will go. Hey, Cousin B. Thanks for being here. Thank you. I know. I'm late on time. Again. Okay, so we talked about Saturn and Aries, and look out for that video. Hopefully I'll be able to record it later today. And that one is, so that video that'll come out, it'll probably be called like Saturn Neptune conjunction. I also have another video that I'm going to hopefully put out this weekend also, that's on, it's more of that Truth and Perspective series. So that'll be interesting as well. Oh, let's see what Josh is saying. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, yeah. Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln are in February. Yeah, that's why it's there. Which is kind of weird. It makes sense, but it doesn't. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. We'll talk about it. And actually, let's start there. Let's start with like Black history, um, versus like history in general. So, we always have to talk about this different than anybody else does, any of our topics. So, we already know that in the United States, February is Black History Month. Um, and just like Josh said in the chat, Black History Month was established for February because of the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. But there's all kinds of controversy there. So I will weave some of that in at the same time that we just look at the vibration of what vibrations do we get and do we feel from Black history period. So first thing is that Black being used as a people is actually pretty recent in time. And we go through all of these designations of race. Well, we know that race in general is a social construct. It's something that has been established by social structures and government to put people in boxes and to designate them as separate. And so the government does this weird stuff like giving days to people and like holidays and stuff to kind of try and make it seem like they are honoring people in equal ways, but it is at the same time to keep that separation, to make sure that people are separated. And so as we're looking at like what's happening in the United States right now, one of the first things we have to recognize is that many of the things that we use to see ourselves as different from each other have actually been put in place by the social structures that are oppressing us. Okay. So, when we look at the vibrations of just these words, period. First of all, if we use our little code book, where, hey, where's our, I just noticed our wheel isn't here. Huh, let me see if I can find our wheel. What happened to it? We lost our wheel. Oh, that's gonna bother me. All right, I'll find it by tomorrow. I just noticed that. That just like threw me all the way off. Anyway, so Black, we use our little code where A equals 1 all the way to Z equals 26, where we keep these middle numbers that are double digits as double digits. For Black, we get 29. And we've been seeing this, these patterns of these numbers that are coming in that are equaling 11 and going to 2. So the word Black is 29. And then the word history is, let me see, that's going to be 8 plus 9 plus 19 plus 20 plus 15 plus 18 plus 25 is 114, which is a 6. So, I gave all that soapbox stuff. Oh, hi, Mai. I just saw you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming in. It's good to see you. um, because I kind of already felt and knew what was happening here. So when we look at the word history, history begins with what this foundation is. So history is at the foundation of anything and everything. But it's specifically in its vibrations telling you that it's the foundation of any divisions, because we have this 11 here, or duality or polarization. So history is the foundation of divisions, polarizations, and duality that we see around us in our world. Hey, Rafa! Thanks for being here. It's good to see you. So already we're seeing that just the vibrations of history here, it's setting this foundation for division. It's setting the foundation for division and duality, like setting sides, and polarization. So whether it's Black history or just history in general, the vibrations of the word, the English word history, is already putting out these vibrations of like, yes, it is used for our foundations of things, but it is also the foundations of these divisions. The history, a lot of the times, is what's drawing the line. It's drawing the line of where these divisions are, where there's polarization. And when the foundation of these divisions are put in place, then it's creating these comfort zones. And we've talked about before how these comfort zones can be good things. It could be like, okay, these are good things for us to be comfortable with. But they also encompass things that we are comfortable with, but we should not be comfortable with. So our history is establishing this foundation where division or polarization can happen, and it's creating these comfort zones that could be problematic. They could be good, they could be bad. Like you can have your shared history is the foundation of your community, and the boundaries that are created that make it either you're in the community or out of the community is established based on that history. And so then you can feel comfortable in that community. But this history also can be the foundation for places where division is created, and now these comfort zones are established that we really should not be comfortable with. Yes, Josh, exactly. And that's where a lot of the division and the duality comes from, because it's who are the writers of that history? Who's establishing that foundation? Who's saying which historical facts are important and which are not? And that again is, some of why I needed to preface that a lot of the social constructs that are used to say what history is important and what is not, or what box people fit in and their history fits in, can be very dangerous and problematic, for sure. I wanted you to see these vibrations, because here we see where we have history um, having the foundation of division, but then we also have the word black also has this embedding of this 11 um, that is the division, the duality, and the polarization in there as well. And really needing to bring that division to an end by getting that 11 to a 2. And the way that would be done in these vibrations, it's giving you this clue where it's ending some kind of cycles. The cycles that needing to be ended are these comfort zones that we really should not be comfortable with. We really should not be comfortable being placed in these boxes of social constructs or judging other people based on those social constructs. But at the same time, we should end who actually belongs in certain groups, because it wouldn't be a bad thing to like I was saying about a community, where if you have a shared history that you can establish a foundation and then put the boundaries around that group to create a comfortable place of safety, that could be a good thing too. You know, it's like here we have this neutral vibration where this, what we're looking at as division and duality, can go a lot of different ways. Is it creating safety, or is it creating polarization and division? Is it out of judgment, or is it out of love for the community space? But this vibration of black really is about ending or shifting these comfort zones. And it's emphasizing this with another 2 here, where it's saying it needs to end this division. So I think it's interesting to just be able to look at these vibrations that are even coming in here. When I look, so just like how we've looked at like the charts, like the birth charts, and also like the numerology over time for like the United States, and we've looked at it for hip hop also. And I think we've looked very quickly at what I don't, and I still don't even know if I like the name, but I am calling it African American, the African American nation. I don't know that I like it, but the universe has deemed that this is what I use, because this African American nation, it actually, this whole vibration adds up to 222. So it is the vibration of ending division in multiple areas of life, and in multiple ways. And so I have looked at the vibrational journey and life chart for this African American nation. And this would be what we would look at as one of like those communities where it is this is established as a foundation of a shared history that is putting some boundaries around it. Now, we know that those boundaries are historically based, but they also were very strongly based in social constructs. So I think that's also why it makes me a little uncomfortable. So there's this debate all the time about, is Black history should it just be US history? And we've seen this a lot more in the last few years, but it's been going forever for as long as I can remember. And this is not just true for Black history, but also when we look at like Hispanic history, Asian history, even women's history, where they are always considered an other type of history. They're not considered like, actually, they have like their little section in US history, but they're not really seen as a big part of it. And we see that also when we look at world history. So like if you look at world history primarily is going to be European history that you're given. So this is an interesting topic. You let me know what you think. But it's always interesting to me to be able to even just look at these vibrations and see how these vibrations are actually playing out in what we're seeing. That we are actually seeing how just these vibrations alone, it's setting it up where there's this back and forth about, okay, February is Black History Month. What does that actually mean? And is that a good thing because it is honoring of that history? Or is it a bad thing because it is perpetuating the division through these social constructs? Is it both? We know everything is neutral, so we know it's both. But it's an interesting conversation. So what do you all think? I know, Josh, like it our conversations here never really go in the way even I think they are going to go. I just let it flow. Oh, here comes Cousin B with all the name drops. So what else, Josh? What else would you like to add, or anybody, to this conversation? Oh, see, there I go. Another weird, random song again. But I'm sure one of you can tell me what that is from. Sounds like a polka. Oh my gosh. I crack myself up. This is what I do all day. I just be cracking myself up. Okay. I'm going to go over here and add Judy's numbers because I did see some more numbers coming in there. Oh yeah, we could definitely do that. Absolutely. That's a very good point, Josh. Yes, that definitely would be good to look at. Why? Why did you decide to do that? Why? Where did you go? It just decided it did not want to be on screen anymore. Like, don't look at me. Don't look. Look away. Oh no! It can't be a Christmas song. I don't sing Christmas songs. Well, but they could pop into my head. So, you might be right. All right, let me look for these other numbers from Judy, and then we will. Oh, is it just one more? Okay, you'll have to tell me, Judy, if it's one or more, because I think I'm only seeing one, but I will check more closely. So let's see. We have 35, 35, 72. That's, I think, the only one I see. Maybe? I thought there was another. Oh, yeah, here's another one. 31, 33. Okay, those two. So let me. Okay, there's two of them. Okay, good. All right, so I got them both. Woohoo! All right, so let's go back over here for Black History. And yeah, I like your suggestion, Josh. Let's just look at these two names. I feel like I'm lagging all the time, but I don't think it's just like my computer or my phone or my internet. I think it's actually me. If that's possible. Like can your brain lag? Would that be like brain fog? What would that be? Huh. I'm gonna start saying that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm lagging today. I'm just lagging today. I think I might start. Yep, I think I'm gonna use it. All right, let's look at. Because I do like this thinking. If we're thinking about this duality. Okay, good, Judy. I'm glad it's not just me. Um, yeah, but this difference between Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. Let's look at that difference. And I'm kind of feeling, ew, why did I make it H? Um, oh my gosh. I don't know if I could spell it. You're gonna have to tell me. But I feel like we might need their first names. So let me know if these are spelled correctly. Abraham. Okay. Yeah, we will. Yes, we'll we'll look at lagging after this. Just because, yes, that is one. Because especially if I'm gonna start using it and like saying it all the time, we should know what the vibration is. All right, so let's use our little code. Put our little code up here as a reminder. I gotta okay. Don't let me forget. I gotta find our wheel, especially before tomorrow. So A equals 1 all the way to Z equals 26 in English alphabet. So Douglass would be 4 plus 15 plus 21. We can look at birthdays. Yeah, if you could find them. 7, 12 plus 1 plus 19. So Douglass is 79. Not 79 years old like some people think he's still alive. But the name Douglass is 79. Okay, just wanted to clarify. And let's look at, well, let's do this first. So 79, this is one of those vibrations that keeps coming up because this 16 keeps coming up. That 16 of a tower just keeps coming up a lot. Lincoln would be 12 plus 9 plus 14 plus 3 plus 15 plus 12 plus 14. And yep, I felt it and it was creeping me out, and it is true. Lincoln is also 79. Yeah. You can check me if you like. Uh Hopefully I am wrong, because it always creeps me out when the universe does this to us. So, we are seeing here that even when we're looking at something like Black history, that we are dealing with this dualism, where we have these extremes, even when you don't think they're extremes. And actually, these two aren't necessarily extremes. But if we think about like Black history, whoa, I don't like how absolutely crooked that line is. I don't mind if it's a little crooked, but like really crooked, no thanks. I know some of you know how I get real annoyed with my lines. Hey, Ron, thanks for being here. It's good to see ya. So with this vibration of Black history, we can see that, like, okay, uh this vibration of 79, it has these extremes where these multiple words and phrases that equal 79 are going to fall along different points on this vibration. And the vibration includes both extremes. And the extremes are what we tend to deem as ultimately bad and ultimately good, and then everything in between. But they all are encompassed in that same vibration. So that's what we have here with this Douglas versus Lincoln. But let's look at their first names also, because that should help. And then I think I saw Josh. Yeah, yeah. I knew Frederick Douglass was one that is going to be very difficult to find, because it's not recorded, um, in the slavery records. So, but good. Okay, you found one. Okay, good. So let's see. Let's look at their first names. So Frederick is 74. And if we add to 79, then this all together is 153. That gets us that 9 that we were looking at already in the word black. And then if we do Abraham is 44 plus 79 is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, which actually gets us to that 6, that we were looking at for the vibration of history. What's also kind of interesting is that 74 is the numeric vibration of the word energy. And just like the word energy, so like energy, this word energy has been very overused and used in so many different contexts, in so many different ways, that it's like its vibration is diluted. And that's similar to Frederick Douglass, actually, his history, where history books have picked and choose what parts of Frederick Douglass's history are included. And that's actually the same for Lincoln as well. But that's interesting there. And then here, 44 is the vibration of the word hope and also the word faith. So that's interesting also that would be there. Especially when we actually think about, so the Emancipation Proclamation that was signed by Abraham Lincoln, that we're taught in history is actually what freed the slaves. And that's not actually what it did. It was only for the southern states. And it was like a punishment that was being placed on the southern states for the Civil War. So that's also this division and this dualism in history. Kind of the same way, like when we think about what you're hopeful for. That could go a lot of different ways. That could be a very interesting discussion. So, okay, some interesting stuff coming up here. Let's see. Let's get these birthdays in here. Oh, that's a different song. All right, so Frederick Douglass. I love when Rumple be jumping in. I love when Rumple jumps in and shakes stuff up. All right, let's see. Trying to find. There we go. Josh says February 14th, 1818 is the birthday that is used for Frederick Douglass. Get a different color here. And February 12th. It's kind of funny that we're like on the day right in between these. I always find that interesting. 1809. All right. So let's look. So for Frederick Douglass, we would first do the year. Look at the year. And look at, there's that 88 in there. 88 has been doing some interesting things over the last couple years, but in particular the last few months. It's been coming back around and being very loud. So we'll add up these years and we get 18, which I should have known. So then we'll take the month, 2 plus the day, 14 plus the year. And so the life path number of Frederick Douglass is 34, which goes to a 7. So interesting that for Frederick Douglass, the first step in his life path is to understand what are the foundations. But he also, and I think we kind of know this, that he would be able to see very clearly what the foundations are. Like what are the things that are being stood upon to build up, whether it's the law, any kind of legislation, or just life in general. He would be able to recognize those very much so, much more than most people, because in his life path, he's meant to understand these foundations and what stability really is. He should understand these foundations well enough to know how they are built, what makes them, but also how they could be brought down. And in several of his speeches, he talks about what are these parts and pieces of the foundation of the United States of America and daily life in the United States, especially for a Black man and former enslaved person, and what would actually need to happen to actually bring that down. So he definitely has that, and his understanding of these foundations are really meant to try and help himself and others to grow in a way that's going to help them understand the foundations and the stability. So then action can be taken, but it's action in vibrational flow. So this vibration is not one of like a philosopher or even of a typical like politician. It's very much the one of somebody, it's more like an activist vibration, because it's understanding the foundations and the stability and how to be able to grow from that foundation, whether it's building on the foundation or changing it. But it's very action based, which is different. A lot of the times, I've seen a lot of politicians have a lot of fives in their numbers. So that's interesting. All right, so let's look at Abraham Lincoln. So already you should be able to see that when we add up the digits of the year vibration is the same as Frederick Douglass. So they both were born in a year of 18, where this 18 does go to a 9. And we all just experienced a 9 year last year in 2025. So that just gives you some hints of what was happening in those years when they were born. So then we do the month plus the day plus the year. And this is going to give us 32, which goes to 5. So see, there's that politician 5 number. So Abraham Lincoln is very much supposed to, life path number wise, understand division well enough to be able to end it. And also have this growth. Oh yeah, you're right. He is on the $5 bill too. So that's interesting, having this 5. So he was supposed to really understand what these divisions were and how they could be ended, and so that growth can happen towards change. So that's really what his life path, his life path single digit number was, to contribute to change, while Frederick Douglass's life path single digit number was to contribute to the action. So there you could see some differences. Interestingly, and I think we've looked at this before, but if we do the birthday of the United States, July 4th, 1776, the life path number of the United States is also 32. So this would make sense why there would be this like synergy with US history and Abraham Lincoln. Why he would be put as part of the representation of Black history within the United States. And why that would, come out that way in the vibrations, but also in history. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, I'm going to show you one other freaky, scary thing. Because that's how we roll here. So, if we take the life path number of Frederick Douglass and we take the life path number of Abraham Lincoln, because these are the two that we use to establish Black History Month because of their birthdays. We add them up. Here's that 66 again, where 66 is the numerical vibration of the word freedom. So there we go. Once again, it all comes back around to this 66. All right, I'm going to catch up in chat. You can put actually anything else, any questions or anything else you want me to add or look at while I catch up with chat. And then when I get down there, then I can add it. Oh, you all crack me up. I'm just giggling at all as I catch up on your chat. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, yes. So, we can definitely add 66 is also the numeric vibration of quality, also family, and also happy. And remember, we just saw that 6 came from that 114 to 6, which was for the word history. So here we have the 6 again. But now with these 2 6s is where we can begin to have these it's like having the extremes of the comfort zone. So you have the best kind of comfort zones with the worst kinds of comfort zones. And when you actually look at them together, now it's allowing you to get a change in your perspective so that you can grow. Let me move this over a bit. I'm sure my face is all in the way. Yep, it is. There we go. Yeah. Interesting how that keeps happening to us, right? I mean, we shouldn't be surprised at this point. But I still get surprised. Yeah, good topic. Josh. Good one. Liked it. And that actually does lead into what I wanted to talk about today. Yeah, with fake it. So we'll go there next. Make sure I didn't see any more numbers, Judy, so I think I have them all. Oh, thanks, Josh. Thanks for bringing that. That was a good one. All right, so let me see. Man, the song keeps changing today. It's not like usual where it's like one song stuck in my head. It's just a whole bunch of different ones, I guess. Oh, yeah. Before we talk about this, before we get too serious, let's look at the numeric vibration of the word lagging. Lagging. Or to lag. To lag. Because that's what my brain does regularly. So, if we use our little code where we have A equals 1 all the way to Z equals 26, lag, so lag itself is 20. To lag, oh, great. 55, another one that keeps coming up and haunting us. 55 is the numeric vibration of the word karmic. And 5 is all about change. So 55 is karmic change. Change. There we go. So then let's look at lagging. So lagging would be 12 plus 1 plus 7 plus 7 plus 9 plus 14 plus 7. I think it's interesting that G is 7. And so whenever there's these words that have lots of G's, there's a lot of 7. That's a lot of like action energy. And it's funny for lagging because it's like no action. Like that's what it is. It's like no action. Oh, that just cracks me up. I think that's funny. So lagging is 57. Yeah, 57. Which is another 12 to a 3. So when we're lagging, we are being forced to slow down our action so that we can make sure that we're in flow. So then we can actually make the change we need to make. So I guess when my brain is lagging, it's because I need to slow down and stop thinking about what I'm thinking about and shift over to something else or pay attention to what I'm thinking, because that happens sometimes too, where I'll be thinking and then realize that I'm thinking. I hope that happens to you too, where it's like, oh, I was really thinking deeply then. What was I thinking about? Maybe that's falling asleep and dreaming. I don't know. But this is okay. This is interesting. And I think we've seen this 57 somewhere before too. But I don't remember where. And this 12 again with that change in perspective so that can grow. So changing your perspective so that you can grow, or at least be aware of what direction you're growing in. Judy, you should not be surprised with all these fives up here. Okay, that was fun. That was fun. That was a good one. All right. So let's look at. I actually want us to look at this phrase. So I was thinking about the phrase fake it till you make it. And when I started looking at like the vibrations of it, I realized that we needed to actually um change it slightly to be able to get the true vibrational story of what was going on there. And what I changed was adding you in there and the whole word until. Yes, indeed. So that changes the phrase to you fake it until you make it. Well, and I was thinking about this with some of our other discussions that we've been having around perception and perspective, in where our perspective comes from and how it can shape how we interact in the world and how we see the truth. So, there was a couple of different things here. I'm trying to see where do we want to go with this. So let's start here. So this word fake. Fake. And this word make. These are really at the center of what's happening here vibrationally in this story. So the word fake, when we use our little code book, equals 23, which is the same vibration as the phrase I am. So when we say that we fake it, we're basically saying I am it. And so that's kind of like the purpose of the phrase, is that, oh, you're supposed to fake it until you become it, which is make it. And so that part fits pretty well here. And so then it is I am. Yeah. And but then when we look at make, where we're supposed to fake it until you make it, but this word make actually has a vibration of 30, which actually causes people when people interact with this vibration of 30, it can go a lot of different ways. Like, this is actually a pretty polarizing vibration, and pretty powerful. Because this vibration, it is initially forcing you to understand this energy of God or the universe or higher power that you don't have control over. So when you're interacting with this vibration of 30, you're first having to recognize and accept that you don't have control over this 0 vibration, which is kind of counterintuitive to actually faking it, because we're given this belief that if we fake it long enough, that we will actually become or come into control of making it. So making it in this phrase makes it sound like we're actually going to gain control, when in fact you're encountering this 0 first, which is accepting that you do not have control. Also, this vibration of 30 is the numerical vibration of the word fear. So if you have a fear, or fear makes you feel out of control, now you really don't feel like you made it. You don't feel like you make it. And so it's interesting to kind of look at these vibrations, and what's actually happening here. Because also, this vibration of 30 is the numerical vibration of the word peace. So if you really make it, you could be in a very peaceful place. But while you're faking it, then you could be in a very fearful place for being out of control. So very interesting to think about this. Also, when we start breaking up this, so this part, so the fake it, you fake it, this adds up to 113, which is 5. So yes, you're supposed to be faking it so that you can get to a change, which is the 5. But the problem here is that you are growing, but in 2 different directions. You could actually be creating a division within yourself. And we always have this division because we are always in between our old version of ourselves and the new version of ourselves. And we'll look at that a little bit closer here in a minute. But while you're faking it, you can very much feel this division. Like while you are growing and trying to move towards this change, you can definitely feel like there is a division within yourself. When we get to make it, now this adds up to 120, which again is you're encountering this vibration of 0 again. So it's very much trying to get you to be aware of how you are not in control, which is again counterintuitive, because you would think that you making it is stepping into a sense of control or into more control over who you are or what you are doing, because we usually use this phrase or a version of this phrase to think about our future and who we want to become or how we want to shape our future. So it gives us the impression that we are in control. This 120 goes to 3, where it's all about this growth. But here again, we have the 3 here, but it's behind on the side of this 0. So you have to be able to gain any of this growth. You have to be able to accept that you're not in control, that there's a higher power that you cannot control. There's things that are happening outside of your control while you're faking it. So I just think that's really interesting to look at. And then, so let's see. We will put in, let's go ahead and put in here, until is 76, which is a 13. So it is a transformation, which is interesting because you're going from faking it, you're transforming into make it. And here we have this until in the middle that is resonating the vibration of transformation with that 13. This whole phrase together, all of this together, resonates at 309. So this phrase is essentially trying to push you towards ending cycles. So ending the way that you do things, the way that you're thinking about things, the way that you're interacting, so that you can encounter this God, universe, higher power that you don't have control over, and you can get to a place of acceptance. I don't know what that was. Hopefully nothing messes up. And you can get to growth, where then you can actually begin to grow. But here again is this vibration of 30 that we're encountering. So again, we're encountering, are you going to be in fear or are you going to be at peace? And primarily with this 0, with being out of control. This 309 adds up then to a 12, where it's giving you a full change of perspective that can lead to more growth. Because once you change your perspective, you're changing how you're seeing truth and the perspectives that are included within your perspective to view and encounter truth. And then you're able to grow from that new position, or within that new position. So I wanted to share this with you because I thought it was interesting. I do have a little bit more, but I want to see what you're saying in chat and see if you have any questions or anything to add at this point. Yes. Yes. Yes, Josh. Yes. And that's how I've used this phrase, or a version of this throughout my life, has been to just trying to fake it until I make it and figure out what that actually looks like and who I'm becoming. The problem now is, and as I've been meditating on this, because this kind of came up early in the week for me, and so I've been thinking about it. I also have been thinking about how to see my own energy, but we'll save that for a different day. That's been driving me crazy actually today. But I've been thinking about how what's been coming up is that it's really important to address this because this is one of the things that we actually need to change. So, we've talked about before where you can use affirmations and you can use mantras. Um, and those have always been used to help build up your vibration or give you good energy or help you to envision what you want in life, so then you're able to move into that space. But what the messages I keep getting is that we have to change things, that the earth itself is raising in vibration, it is ascending. And we can't do the same things anymore to get the same result. So it kind of be like, okay, you started learning how to do addition in first grade, second grade, first grade. I don't know. So you started learning how to do addition in first grade. But if you go to fifth grade and you're trying to do addition instead of multiply, you're making it much harder on yourself. You can still get to the answer, but it's a much more difficult process, and you will hit a plateau or a ceiling faster. Because at some point, you're not going to be able to add as quickly as you would be able to just multiply. Assuming you don't have a calculator. So that's kind of the messaging that keeps coming up, that we need to start leveling up what we're doing to build our energy, to raise our vibration, and to start getting us into a position of the life that we actually want. That, like, how we have been healing and manifesting and working with energy and vibration, it still works, but it's time to level it up, where the whole earth is being moved to this higher vibration. And I think we've been seeing a lot of that in the last few years. That there's been lots of signs that we are moving into a space that the vibration is different. And it is kind of like moving to a different grade level. Now, first grade isn't any better or worse than fifth grade. It's just very different. And so it's what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing in the messaging and experiencing even myself is that the old things aren't working. Well, they're not working as well, because it's definitely time for us to make some changes. So we need to start talking about what are the changes we can make. So instead of just faking it till we make it, or using our affirmations, or doing our manifestations or our visualizations that we've been doing, how do we upgrade that? And I do think that this is where our discussions of now going from awareness, it's more important for us to be very aware of what vibrational level we are at and why we are doing what we're doing, so we can be more intentional. So to be able to go from awareness to intention, we need to be more intentional. So like if you're faking it till you're making it, you're kind of fumbling around, and that's what fake it is like you're fumbling around trying to figure out what it looks like. You're pretending that you're there, but you're not there yet. Where instead you could do things in a very intentional way to be able to get to the same goal and probably get there faster. So you can multiply instead of just add. Okay, I'll take another little break because I do need some water. Let's see what the chat is saying. Yes, Judy. Yeah. I always felt like that, where that word fake just bothers me. And but the word, like the phrase I am, feels so much more powerful than fake. But they have the same vibration. It's very interesting to look at. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, Josh. Good. Good. Good, good, good. I'm glad that you're seeing this too, because I've been seeing hints of it actually for the last few years, but the last year going on 2 years, it's been a lot of like, no, you got to do things differently. And I'm also here fumbling around trying to figure out, well, what's different? Like, how do we do this different? But as I'm learning and getting these messages, I want to make sure I'm bringing them to you also. Mm, yes, that's a good point, Josh. Because it's not, it's like, yeah. And I'm seeing that kind of all everywhere, where it's kind of twofold, where it's the um the amount of data or like evidence that you're using to have a stance or have like your opinion, but it's also in actually questioning that data also. So the questioning of, why do I see it this way? Why am I feeling this way? Why is this happening? Um, is this good data or not, and why? Those are the things that bring us into an awareness so we can actually be more intentional with what we're doing. So I'm gonna draw our we've seen this before. Um, but I want to talk about it. So this is still kind of forming, like I'm still getting pieces of this message. So we'll see what else comes here to us today. And I'll keep adding to this. But what keeps coming up when I really am trying to see, what is it about the awareness? Like, what should we be aware of so that we can be more intentional? It keeps coming to this horizontal time and vertical time, which we've looked at before. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying. Yes, yes, exactly, Judy. Exactly. And I think that is like what we're being told when we keep getting that 16 of the tower needing to fall. Like it's time for the tower to fall. Oh, I was looking at my little battery light. Um, that it's definitely time for this tower to fall. It needs to happen. These things need to change. Absolutely. Yes, exactly, Josh. Where it's, yeah, it's like everything is an educational guess at this point. Um, and that's not good enough anymore. So like it's like if you're taking if you're taking a test and all of the questions are true false, you now have, 50-50 chance on both every question to get it right or wrong. Your probability of getting more of those right is larger there. Where, and it's like we're going from true false to now multiple choice. So now we have 3 options or 5 options that we have to choose from. And so the possibility of us just guessing is now increasing. So we need more information so we're not just guessing. So when we look at horizontal time is what we know. It's our past and our future. So this is the time that we know. Here on Earth, we have horizontal time so that our experiences are stretched out enough so we actually can gain awareness, growth, information, whatever you want to call it, from our experiences that we're having in life. And so all of those experiences in life, and those lessons that we use to really know who we are and to go into our perspective, where from our perspective is where we're decision making. They all of those experiences are encompassed here on this horizontal timeline. Now we could talk about multiple timelines and all of that at another time because they're in parallel lives and all that stuff. Because that's here too, but that's not for today. But we also have vertical time. And vertical time is based on your level of healing. So here is where you are your most healed self, and here is where you are your most unhealed self. And when you've heard me talk about vertical time before, I always struggle with what to label vertical time. This time it came through very clearly that it's this spectrum of healed and unhealed. And then here, wherever this cross point is, this is us in the now or the present time on both timelines. So when we're here at this middle box, we're at a particular level of healed or unhealed. We're at a particular point within our past or our future. So when we're thinking about fake it until you make it, what that's actually doing is it's having us focus on this future point, usually without addressing or acknowledging the past. But what has happened in our past and what we're carrying into the future is from our past. And it changes what this vision is for the future. Also, our level of being healed can change what this vision is for the future. Because a lot of times when we say we're going to fake it till we make it, it could be, it's always in the future. But I don't know that we necessarily think about what level of healed are we in this moment. Is it here? Is it here? So I think that's part of gaining this awareness so that we can be more intentional in what we're doing. So the other thing that I want to put on here is I want to label some of these. And like I said, I don't have everything, all of the messaging yet, but I do want to start planting these seeds in our minds so we can start thinking about how to use this information to become more aware so we can be more intentional in our healing, our growing, our changing. So your past and this area of being unhealed, this is where all of our experiences, so these are all the experiences that have already happened. These are where the experiences are that make our perspective. So if we are not acknowledging what how our past and how our unhealed self is impacting us or is part of us, then we're never really going to understand why our perspective is the way that it is. So you can think about if we are moving through time. So as we're moving through time, we're just making this part of our past bigger. But if we're not healing in time, we're just adding on the burden of these unhealed past experiences. We're just making this box bigger. And if we're just making this box bigger as we get to this point, are we really going to have that future that we envision? I used to tell students all the time to just fake it till you make it. But that now it seems like that doesn't really make sense. So that's this box here. These are all your past experiences where the trauma has occurred, and it's those traumas or just the experiences that we would deem as negative or that have shaped us in a way that we would deem as negative that have created our most unhealed self. Then here, this is what we just talked about, where this would be your not healing. This is when you're not healing. And so this is like you're stuck in old perspective. So this is when you're stuck in this old perspective where which we just talked about, which your perspective is based off of what's happened in the past, and you haven't done as much healing. Now, if you think about it, if we move this up and over, this box is still getting bigger. So it's a lot of this is accepting of the past, accepting how the past has damaged you. So then this part of this unhealed is actually moving up. So it would end up looking more like this. So our goal is, because we're always going to have our past and we're always going to have our future until we don't. But what we would want is we'd want this part of unhealed to be very small, if not there at all. Like, that would be ideal. If this is not, this is just here. So there's no unhealed portion of us as we are moving through the future. But that's never going to be, because there's always parts that we have to heal. There's always something that we have to heal. The difference is that when we heal a part of ourselves, now we can have more awareness of ourselves and we can be more intentional in what actions we're taking and how we're trying to build our life. So that kind of leads me to this part here, where this is where you're actively healing. This is where active healing takes place. So we are able to, just like we can envision the future for ourselves, we can envision a more healed version of ourselves. So what does this healed version of ourselves look like? And that helps us get to, these other places. All right, I'm going to take a break and look at your chat, and then I'll come back. Yes, Josh. But wanting to be very intentional about every step that we take. Yes, exactly, Judy. Exactly. That's what is coming up for me too. Is if you're just faking it without accepting and really looking at who you are and who you want to become, and building a better awareness of how your past is impacting your future, then it's always going to be a fake. It's always going to be a fake. And then when that identity is tested, it's going to crumble. Exactly, Josh. Exactly. I'll give you kind of a silly example. I'll give you an example. So here, let's redraw this. We'll come back there. Actually, before we do that, before we go on to this example, let's just put in here. So this, where it's healed and the future, this is where truth lies. Big T truth. This is our goal perspective. knowing and understanding that when you're moving into the future as your most healed self, you are accepting that the unhealed parts of you still exist and you're working on them. And you're accepting that the past still is part of who you are. So these past and unhealed portions never really go away. You're just healing them and being able to move forward in the acceptance of where you are now, in any moment of now. Okay, so let me give you an example of like how this would kind of look. Because I was looking for an example for myself. And of course, the universe always got jokes. So this is the example the universe gave me in meditation. Exactly, Judy. Exactly. Past, future, healed, unhealed. Okay. So the example that the universe gave me was to examine my reaction to a creepy old man at the gym. I know. Where in meditation it was coming up that this creepy old guy at the gym kept coming up in my meditation, and it was really actually pissing me off. Because I'm like, you know what? I don't want to think about this crusty old cranky dude that be saying really inappropriate things to me. I don't want to deal with that. But as I examined it, I saw, okay, if this creepy old guy he's part of my now, if I keep going to the gym and he's going to the gym, he's going to be part of my future. But my reaction to him and the things that he say, when I really looked at it, was very interesting. Because I was not like I was viscerally feeling a reaction, like it was making me angry, the things he was saying or the way that he would look at me, but I wasn't saying anything to him. And I was wondering, so in meditation, because the universe told me to, I was wondering, well, why is it that I can have this visceral reaction and I feel like really angry, and like I want to like lash out, but I'm not saying anything or I'm not doing anything? And what I was able to see, well, first, I was able to think about, well, what would a healed reaction look like? And when I thought about that, I thought about, well, a healed reaction would probably be me encountering this creepy old guy and not having a visceral reaction, like not feeling that reaction in my body as much. And because I don't feel that visceral reaction as much, just being able to say, like, ew, gross, or ignore him. Like, thinking about what that healed version of me would be, it would be like, I don't have to give him any reaction at all. He could be a complete nobody. I can act like he doesn't even exist. Or I could say something. But what I would say wouldn't come from that very visceral emotional reaction, because I would have healed. So then that led me. So I went from these interactions and this knowing that this creepy old guy at the gym is in my now and probably in my future. then thinking about what my healed reaction would actually be, and then being able to now go back into my past to see where that visceral reaction was actually coming from. And when I really thought about it, there were times in my past where a creepy old man was my boss. And because of the power that he had for me to keep my job or not keep my job, to make money to feed my family or not, I could not have a reaction. Because I was not able to have a reaction, that's what created a scarred or unhealed experience for me. I also saw that if I went back further in my past, that I had some creepy old man encounters as a teenager, actually in high school. And there's been lots of conversations about those creepy old men and teenagers. Ew, gross. But again, because I was a teenager and not able to, I didn't have the power or the ability to say anything, or I didn't feel like I could. Now that's adding to this wound. I looked also, and unfortunately, I got some creepy old men in my family. So I've been listening to these motherfuckers my whole life, and they're creepy and annoying, and they make weird ass comments. But that again, because I'm a younger member of that family and you're supposed to respect your elders, I felt like I couldn't say anything. And so I did not allow myself to react or to feel. And that created this wound. But at least now, by going through this process, I can look at how now do I get from here to here. And that's where I'm at now. Is like, how now can I get from here to here? But I think this all is awareness, but this is where the intention comes in. Because now I'm not just trying to fake that it doesn't bother me when it does, but I'm actually in awareness as to where that visceral reaction is coming from. So I'm able to intentionally begin to figure out and decide, how do I heal these past things so I can get to this more healed reaction, this more healed place of myself. Because I can't make the creepy old guys go away. We're seeing that there are a lot of creepy old guys out here doing a lot of creepy old guy shit. But how now do I make sure that my actions and reactions to the spaces that I'm in with them are putting me in an empowered place? Are making sure that I'm not creating more wounds, but also that I'm not passing those wounds on to other people, but especially my children. Passed on wounds happen a lot. Those are a lot of what we see as generational curses, is the wounds that we pass down. Because like this if I don't heal this, then I'm teaching my daughters to behave this same way with creepy old guys. And I could become overprotective of my children. I can also create fear in them. So then that's changing how they're acting and interacting in the world. It's changing their perspective. It's changing my perspective. So I'm thinking that's where a lot of our discussions is going to. Figuring out how do we become aware of our experiences that are creating our perspective, but are also creating these wounds that are having us travel into the future with this heavy baggage. Because even thinking about it is like, people have been going to therapy for a very long time. And we already know that the same type of therapy, the same type of therapists do not work for everybody. So I think that's part of this becoming aware and moving in your healing journey as well. Same thing with like meditation. Yes, Judy, but I'm coming to the realization that I don't necessarily think it's letting go anymore. Because we've been telling ourselves and telling each other that we just need to let it go. But all that's really doing is it's just it's putting like a band-aid over a bullet hole. I don't know that just letting go is actually letting go. So when I think about like some of the things that we have now, so like we have a lot of ways to be able to do like inner child healing, but and also like doing shadow work is another type of healing, of like that unwounded, like that unhealed place. This is healing also. But I'm afraid that our definition of healing is letting go, when I think it actually should be acceptance. Okay, Judy, thank you for giving me that example. And do you feel like after you did that, that your reactions to and your emotions to them, um or anyone that reminds you of them, was actually in a better place? Because I think that's where I'm at now, is like with these words like healing, letting go, forgiving, because these are things that we've been using and saying. But what's the elevated form of that? If we're supposed to be elevating what we're doing, what is the elevated form of the healing, the letting go, the forgiving that we're doing now? I don't know. But I do think we are at a place where we have to start discussing it and start figuring it out together. Trying to see, let me listen and see if there's anything else. Okay. I don't think there's anything else now. But I think this is where, so this is what you want to take a screenshot of. You don't take screenshot of anything else. This is where we need a clip. Because this is the seed that is going to be forming and growing to help us begin to learn how to not have to just fake it, but just to make it. Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Judy. Because, yeah, like, and I also wonder if it's just using these techniques, because it's not necessarily that the old way that we were doing things didn't work, it just took longer. So I don't know. But I feel like this is going to be coming up a lot more. A lot more. These are going to need to be coming into our discussions of looking at how do we build our awareness so that we can make intentional choices to heal and to raise our vibrations. Because there's definitely, and we've been feeling it probably for years, but it's very loud and strong right now that we're coming into a time where we need to end and shift the way we were doing things, the way we've been thinking, the way we've been doing things to learn and grow and raise our vibrations and become the people that we were intended to be moving into the future and our contributions to the world. And that still is very neutral. I think we're going to see very much more of these extremes where we're like, this duality is strong and very loud, and I think we're still going to continue to see that as well. Yes, exactly, Judy. Like, we are in this year 2026 where we are in a 1 year. We just went through a crazy 9 year with 2025. And we're here at the beginning of this 2026 year, but we're already getting some big time energy and messages around needing to shift and change. And so, with this one energy coming in all year long, this is a really good time because that means we have these vibrations and the universe to help us. We just got to be aware of which direction we are growing in. So, I'm sure I will continue to say that, as I always do. All right, so that's what I have for Fake It. And like I said, we will definitely continue that conversation. I think there's been a pretty good foundation for thinking about truth and perspective that'll help us with this also. But we definitely need to talk more about this horizontal and vertical time and changing up what we're doing so that we can have from a place of awareness, we're intentionally making these decisions for ourselves and our life and our healing and our growth and our manifestations and whatever it is that we want for ourselves in the future. It's so interesting because I can see more messaging coming in, like more lessons to be learned around that same topic. Um, but it's like looking at a see-through. It's like all the pages are see-through. So if you can imagine a book where every page has its prints, but they're all see-through and they're all laid over each other. So you know it's there, but you can't read it yet because all of those see-through parts are making the words overlap so much that they just look like black lines. So we definitely have a lot more messages coming in around that. So we all should be prepared. Be prepared. But not like Scar to do evil stuff. Need to clarify. All right, let's look at these numbers and then we'll get out of here and hopefully have a good night. All right, so let me see. Where can we put these? Let's go this way. All right. Yes. Need some good Twitch dancing. I'm looking at these and trying to see which ones are standing out. Huh. So, Judy, are there any of these that stood out more for you? Hey, Flex! Thanks for being here. It's good to see you. We are just taking a look at some numbers that Judy has seen. Yeah, okay. So these you kind of saw together. So what it's kind of feeling like is, so this one is standing out to me and this one, I think that's what you said also. Okay. It's these two that are standing out to me most. Um and you said the 650 for you as well. Yeah. I'll talk about go because both of these are portals and portals on portals on portals. Um, but let's look at these others just real quick. So here with this 530, this very much just feels like a lot of these lessons that we've been seeing again about this energy returning, where this energy is coming back. And we know we have this 0 here of the God, universe, higher power, vibration that we don't have control over, really pushing us towards growth so that this growth can bring about the change. So this feels like a very similar message that has been coming through. Same with this one. I think that's why they're not, it's not that they're not important, they're just not resonating as much. So here I'm seeing this one more as 3572. The word two is 35, and actually hip hop resonates at a 72. And this is going to a 17, which really is the vibration of the star. But here again is that 8. So it's a lot of this same energy that we've been talking about, that we've been having, of like, we've talked about, like, not just in hip hop, but all around, where it's this reap what you sow energy is coming back in, and it's really like trying to get people to look at and understand that you have to face the past, like we just were talking about. Actually, like if we go back to here, where it, you really have to, that 8 energy of reap what you sow, karma, coming back around energy is really pushing you towards looking at this energy that has come from your past. So it looks like it's a lot of, those two in particular are a lot of the same energy. Yep, and there's 88 again. 88 did, for those of you that didn't see any of my messages, like 88 has been coming up a lot, actually, for quite a while. So this vibration of 88, it is the numerical vibration of the word clarity, the word vision, but also of a couple names. So it's coming up a lot. This 8 energy is coming up a lot. Also, this 16 energy, which is the tower falling, we're getting, that's coming up a lot also. So it's this energy coming back around where it feels very karmic. It's very much this reap what you sow energy, the energy from the past. We also were just talking about history, and so it's like history repeating itself. So what you've done in the past, whether it's recent or far past, is now coming back around, and everybody is needing to face it because you're having to really look and see, am I in this tower that is about to fall? Am I in the tower that's about to fall? And if I'm in the tower that's about to fall, how do I get out before it falls? Part of that is facing that past energy, so that you're able to get to a place of clarity. But also, am I outside of the tower? Am I just observing this tower and waiting for it to fall? And how do I make sure I stay out of the tower? So yes, that 8 energy, the 88 energy, is very active right now. Let's look at this 650. And then we'll look at the last two. So, Judy, you saw 650 at 1111. 1111, so I've been talking for a lot of times. I'm sure many of you that have been here might get tired of it because I'm going to keep talking about it. But how this 11 is going from this master number of like feeling very high vibrational to us actually realizing that the 11 is the vibration of duality. And 1111 is actually the building of a foundation, because it's the four like walls or the four sides of a foundation. It's building the four walls of the foundation that is either continuing duality or releasing duality. Oh, wait, let me see what you said, Flex. Oh, man, I can't. The little heart's in the way. Okay. Okay, so Chris Brown's that's interesting. Because 1111 we've seen 11 for a very long time as a very high vibrational number. But what happens is whenever we have multiples of the same number, so this is actually like 4 ones altogether, what it's doing is it's an amplification of that vibration. And so what we're actually experiencing is this feeling of like, oh, I've got 4 speakers instead of just one. So it feels very high vibrational. But what we're also seeing happening is that this 11 is like establishing the extremes between like this duality, or it's establishing where the line has been drawn for polarization. And what we should actually be working towards is getting these 11s to actually go to a 2, where we can end duality, where there is now a place that uses both of the good parts of the 2 extremes, so we can create a new third path that actually ends the duality or ends the division. That's very interesting. Huh. Okay. Now I'm just curious. I'm just curious. I'm gonna look and see what Chris Brown's name is. I felt it. Okay. So, oh my gosh, where can I put this? Put it over here. So Chris Brown, when you add up the letters of his name, so using A equals 1 all the way to Z equaling 26, Chris Brown is 129, where this 29 is 11, and so this is operating as like a 111. So, interesting. Of course. Of course. Everybody's here for a reason. So that's interesting. And we just looked at this. 29 is the numerical vibration of the word black. So when we were looking at black history. Okay. Oh, okay. Angel numbers, huh? Okay, I'll have to check it out. Okay, I will definitely check it out. Thank you, Flex. That's very interesting. This goes along with like everything we were just talking about. Right? I love that. Very interesting. Okay, so now I'm like intrigued. But we got to get back to these numbers. All right. So, very interesting. Okay. We going to break that all down. So, this 650 this of course is adding up to an 11. So here we have that 11 again. And so we are starting here with this God or universe energy. So this is bringing a message, and this definitely feels like it is for you, Judy, but also there's at least 3 other people that I can see tied to this vibration that need this message. So in this situation that you are dealing with, it looks like there are some of the people that this is tied to. It looks like it's only 2 people that this is tied to. It's actually in relation to somebody else. Like it's about a situation that's tied to somebody else. One person, it looks like it's not just tied to one somebody else, but there's actually multiple. Like potentially this person with a group of people. And then there's one person, at least one, where it's about something that's happening within themselves. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, from for everybody, when you are encountering this vibration of 650, we always start at the far right side. This is the vibration that's like the foundation of the vibrational story. Here we're starting with the 0, which is that God, universe, higher power vibration that we do not have control over. So when you're thinking about these situations, the first thing to recognize is what do you have control over and what do you not have control over. So for those where it is involving another person or other people, you only have control over yourself. You only have control over your reactions and actions. You only have control over how you are interacting with this vibration and how it is impacting you to act with others. For people or the one person in particular where this is about something that's happening within you. This is recognizing that there are things, wow. Okay, so there are things that have happened in your past that you did not have control over. Whether it was because you were a child, you weren't in a position of power, um, or somebody was wielding their power over you. You have to recognize which parts of what you're going through were outside of your control. You do have control now to help yourself heal and to move forward out of that place so that those memories no longer hold control over you. But you have to understand that difference. You have to understand the difference of being out of control in the situation that has caused those experiences versus right now. That's really tough in yourself, especially when it's experiences that were outside of your control that have really shaped who you are and what you're doing. But this is the first thing for everybody, to understand what you have control over and what you do not. Because in that understanding of what you have control over and what you do not, now you're able to get to a place where you can change those things that you have control over. You can begin to work on changing only those parts that you have control over. So if it's another person, when you understand that you do not have control over changing them, that you can't do that, then you can get out of this loop that you're stuck in and really focus your energy on being able to make changes of things that you can control, which would be you. This will help get to a new place of comfort. It doesn't mean that you'll be comfortable, because a lot of times our biggest lessons are learned in our most uncomfortable situations from a most uncomfortable place. But it means that you will be in a place of comfort and acceptance of what needs to happen next. Because as you come into that place of being able to accept what you have control over and what you do not, the changes that you need to make for the things and the parts that you have control over, now you can come into a place of acceptance, which will allow you to be able to see this duality or this division very clearly. Whether this is within yourself, or between you and another person, or between you and multiple people. You'll be able to see where the divisions are. Because you saw this at 11:11, it makes me believe that these divisions, this duality, is happening both within yourself. So there's some division that needs to be brought to clarity and be seen within yourself so that you're not going back and forth, but also outside of yourself. And this is in all cases. So you're able to see this duality or this division much more clearly. So then you are able to see on both of these sides what are the pros and cons of both of these sides of this line, where this division is. Why is this division here? What are the pros and cons of both sides, and how can I bring the things, those pros, all the good things that work for me from either side or both sides, and bring it together to create something new. So when we're in a place of division or duality, We do not want to choose one side or another, because that's actually maintaining that division. It's maintaining that duality. What we need to do is find the parts of both sides that work for us so that we can create a new path where we're ending the duality, where both extremes are able to exist and coexist together. Wow. All right, 650. I see you. The other last thing that's coming up is 65 is the numerical vibration of the word abundance. So if you're working towards abundance in any form, then this is a set of lessons that you also need to look at and be aware of and be able to use. So finding what parts you are in control over and what you're not in control over, and having that understanding and that awareness, changing the things that you do have control over, and establishing a place of comfort in accepting that you have changed what you had control over. Because then in doing that, you'll see where the division is. Where are the paths towards your abundance? And remembering that you're not to pick one path or another. You're to find a middle ground path that utilizes information, utilizes parts of both of the other paths. So you're not balancing between these two as the 11, but you are creating this new path that ends the division as a 2. My goodness. I didn't expect all that, but okay. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Anybody know what that's from? Yeah. Okay. All right. So these other two, I think, are really interesting in how they. Yes. Charlotte's Web. And also Babe. That'll do, pig. Multiple places. Oh, I love that. It's so funny how those things just be coming to mind for like no freaking reason. Well, I guess they're enjoyable. All right. So we're going to look at these multi portals, because that's what these both of these numbers are. Oh my gosh, did I forget like what they are? I might have, because I was thinking about that'll do, pig. Let's see. Okay, 5, 45, 15. And then 3, 1. Yep. All right, got it. Got it. Got it. All right. Here we go. We're good. We're back over here. We're going to move over here more. So we have a clean page. All right, here we go. So we have, and I know this was a time, but we're going to look at it this way, and we'll look at it together. All right, so let's look at this one first. So we already know that you actually create a vibrational portal whenever you have the same vibration on either side. Because those want to be near each other. And so it's creating like this motion of like a whirlpool. And so then it is pushing that middle part of the portal number forward. And so then you are interacting more with that middle set of vibrations than the outside vibrations. So whenever I see these portal numbers, it's more important to be aware of what's coming through this portal than how these vibrations are working together. Because that portal movement is actually overpowering the weaving that of these vibrations together. So here we actually have a dual portal. So we have this blue portal with these threes, but then we also have this internal portal here with these threes. So we have a dual portal here. So with the blue, what's coming through is the 13. 13 is the numerical vibration of transformation, of change that is coming, and you cannot go back from. So when we encounter a 5, that's the vibration of change where you can go back and you can make changes. So that's like you make a change and then you see, oh, that wasn't the right change, and so you can go back from. But also if it's a 5 change, you can, this is when we talk about 1 step forward, 2 steps back. That's a 5 change. Because if you can make a change forward, but then something else can happen that can push you back, then that's only a 5 change. That's like you can shift. But when you get to a 13 of transformation, this is like a caterpillar going to a butterfly. The butterfly can't go back to a caterpillar. A transformation is a change that you can't go back from. It's a full transformation. So this blue portal is pushing through this transformation energy. And this green portal is pushing through this 1 or new energy, where it's asking you to look at what is new. Here's a new way of seeing things or a new way of doing things. The thing to be aware of with this portal is that this 1 energy is coming through both of these portals, which is amplifying it just like it was an 11. So here we go with this 11 energy again. So that's interesting with this portal here. We do know that then this will add up to a 10, where a 1. So also this 1 energy being amplified is amplified even more because of how this is adding up, how these vibrations are weaving together. But it's actually the ones that are coming through these portals that are amplified. So that's cool. Let's look at this other one. I'm going to write it this way so we can see it better. So first thing I notice when we write it this way, we have this 4 and the 1 are the only ones that are not a 5, but they add up to 5. So this whole thing is actually a very big vibration of 5. like change, 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 change. Like change is needing to happen. Change is coming through, and needing to happen in a lot of different areas. This portal will help you to see where change is happening. So let's look at these different ones. So we have this portal here, which is the biggest one, between the two ends. What's coming through there is this 451, which is going to a 10-1. Then we have, let's do this one next. So then we have this orange one. And this one is bringing forth this vibration of 4. So it's all about foundation or stability. And then we have, oh my gosh, what color should I use? This one. So this is like a triple decker portal, where this one is bringing forth more energy of 1. So here we have these 3 portals that, in the way that these vibrations are moving, it's like overriding everything else, that it's overriding like the weaving of these vibrations together. So when we're looking at this, we would more look at what's coming through these portals. And we do see that this 41 is coming through for another 5. And then this 10 is 5 and 5. So this is a lot of 5 energy. So the 5s are creating the portals, but then it's also 5 energy that's coming through the portals. So this is like, and when you have this portal energy, it really is like a flowing in of energy. It's like making it so you have to notice it. Like you can't ignore it. So when you're seeing a lot of these portal numbers, and I actually have seen a lot of portal numbers for like the last 3 years, but in particular, last year in the summer, we had a lot of portal energy coming through. Because these portal vibrations are really, they're forcing these vibrations through the portal into the space. So this is all your 5 energy, Judy, being forced into the space. Like it's like change is coming, and you either can be in control of that change, or it could really hit you hard. So pay close attention and make sure that you're making the changes that you have control over, like we saw in 650, so that this change just doesn't hit you like a truck. Because it's coming. That's what this portal is saying. But also because you saw this in like a space, and it's being presented here, this is a lot for everybody. It's just not as strong for everybody else as it is for you. But these changes are coming in very strong and very loud. So better to make the changes yourself to get out of the tower before it falls than to just fall with the tower. those were good. Those were some good numbers. All right, so what? Let's see. Did we do everything? Oh yeah. So we talked about Saturn and Aries, which is happening right now. And I will put a video together about the Saturn-Neptune conjunction that's happening on February 20th. We will probably talk about it more tomorrow when we talk about hip hop, because we know February 20th is a very special day. And we talked about Black history. We talked about fake it till you make it. We talked about your numbers. All right. Good stuff. Yes. So, tomorrow we'll be back. I will be back earlier than today. Probably much earlier than today because I don't have to work. But we'll see. Sometimes I'd be getting lost in my head, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I should be sharing this. So, my bad. But I'll be back tomorrow. And yeah, we'll talk hip hop. We'll look at all our different, so we'll look at all the vibrations of Booman and look at what vibrations are coming through. Oh, hi, Tiptoe Joe. Well, thanks for letting us know. You're not the creepy old man. You never that. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here. So bring your hip hop news, hip hop events, hip hop numbers tomorrow. We'll be looking very much at Baby Keem. We'll look at his name. We'll look at his life path number. We'll look at the album name. We can look through the documentary and look at the numbers and vibrations that are coming through there, but also bring anything else. So anybody that doesn't know Saturdays, when we come together, we are looking specifically at hip-hop events, and a lot of times it's just hip-hop is used for an example of all these other lessons that we need to learn anyway. So that'll be fun. So we'll do all that tomorrow. And have a good rest of your night. Go get something to eat, Judy, because I am. Because doing this makes me hungry. This is like a workout. I will see you tomorrow, hopefully. Have a good night. Thank you so much for being here. If you didn't hit the like button on your way in, please hit it on the way out. I appreciate you so much. And I will see you tomorrow. Or soon. Thank you.